In 2013, Dragon Ball made its long-awaited return with Battle of Gods. This film kicked off what many fans now call the Dragon Ball Renaissance, paving the way for Dragon Ball Super and a flood of new content. But with the recent buzz around Dragon Ball Daima and its stunning, polished art style, I started wondering, what if Battle of Gods came out in 2025 and got that same treatment? So today we're going to reimagine key scenes from Battle of Gods and maybe even create some new ones. All, of course, with that extra level of polish that Daima has brought back to the series. Alright, for the first scene that we are going to be reimagining in this video, we are going to be reframing the iconic My Bulma scene. Yeah, I just really thought that originally this scene, although it does convey a lot of emotion and it does, I guess kind of portray his rage in a pretty cool way, I think it kind of comes off a bit flat because it's in a very just straight on angle, and it's not really, it doesn't really convey any like volume or depth or anything like that. And one thing I think Battle of Gods definitely suffers from, although the story is pretty amazing, I think the art style definitely suffers from like the entire movie looking almost exactly the same. It's very just uniform. A lot of the characters, there's no real like, there's no sauce. Like there's no like, the characters just don't have any fucking aura. There's no sauce. There's no like intense shots. There's no obviously there's certain scenes where characters look really cool, like that one shot of Whis, but like for the most part in the movie there's just no real like stylization. I don't know if that's a word or not, but there's no like, you can't really see any other animator style in the movie. It's just Yamamuro. Yamamuro the fucking movie. Same thing with Resurrection F, if I'm being honest. It's just Yamamuro the movie. And it just kind of becomes kind of tiresome. You just see in the same art over and over and over, and it's like, okay, can we see a different style now? And another thing I didn't really like about the scene is like, it just seems like with Super Saiyan nowadays, there's almost like no difference in musculature. Like whenever the characters go Super Saiyan, they go from base form to Super Saiyan. I remember back in the day, they used to get buff as shit, back whenever they used to fucking turn into Super Saiyans. But nowadays, they're just, skinny and just don't really, nothing changes with their bodies. But so for this drawing, I really wanted to just, I had to give Vegeta some roids for this one. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my process of making this. And here's our finished product of Vegeta crashing out about Bulma. And yeah, like I said, I wanted to make him more buff and give him more detail because I felt the original scene lacked a lot of detail. So I really wanted the hair to have a bit more flair. But yeah, I think this drawing looks really cool, and it's a good representation of how I would want it to look if Battle of Gods had released in 2025. Alright, so we are going to be tackling probably one of my favorite scenes from the movie. I thought this was like a very good representation of what a god's transformation should look like. Obviously, the art itself could use some polishing, and this particular shot of Super Saiyan God Goku in particular is the one we are going to be redrawing. I just really think that the art here looks very flat, and it just lacks a lot of flair. Doesn't really, it's not, I don't know, it's just very bland. It doesn't really have that much life to it. I don't hate the colors in particular. I just think that they could be, I actually think they work pretty well with the scene, but I am going to touch up on the colors and probably take some colors from Daima, and particularly Daima Super Saiyan 4 to really nail that red hair and maybe even add some highlights to it. But I'll be right back, guys. Enjoy the process. And there we have it. I think this one came out great, actually. I really like the highlights in the hair. I kind of changed up the way his hair traditionally looks from the front because I wanted it to look like, you know, there's flowing like motion, there's wind flowing through the air as he's transforming. Just a more detailed design. Kind of like how Daima Goku was portrayed by Yu Yu Takahashi whenever Goku was transforming in Super Saiyan. So I really wanted to add a lot more detail and make the form look more appealing to look at rather than him just looking like some cardboard. As for the anatomy, the main thing I really changed about it was the way the chest looked. Because in the original, his chest is just one fucking shape. Like his chest is literally like one Lego brick. So I just was like, yeah, that's not really how the chest works. So I changed that around and I gave it a bit more of a realistic approach rather than just only using one shape. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments below. I really like this one. All right, next up we have one of the crazier drawings of the video. I didn't really know exactly how I wanted to tackle this. I didn't choose a particular frame to really go off of or change. I just thought for this, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own shit up. I'm kind of just gonna reimagine this in my own way. Because overall, I mean, this scene in and of itself, I thought it was a really good scene already. So there wasn't too much for me to really add. The only things that I thought would be cool to add was to, you know, make Beerus like have an aura and then give him a bit more of just have him show off more of his powers, like to show off more of his abilities and things like that. Especially in the setting that they're in. They're like in an underground cave, which makes the colors pop on the screen a lot more because they're in such a dark area with water, dude. Like the water is like reflecting their auras and shit like that. So turning up the colors on the auras would definitely make this scene a lot more hype. And it would also make the scene a lot more visible because there were times during this scene where you could barely see the fucking characters. Like whenever Goku was like, whenever he wasn't in God, you couldn't see anything because the area was so dark. If I were to remake this scene in Battle of the Gods, I'd definitely keep Goku in his God form longer, and I'd probably give Beerus an aura just to flex the art and animation a bit more. Alright, and there it is. We have our God Goku versus Beerus. Both of their auras look pretty good, I think. I really wanted to capture that flame-esque approach for the auras. I added a splash of water there to really add some environment because I really enjoy when it feels like the characters are a part of their environment. Like they're, you know, whenever they step on water, there's a splash, or whenever a rock falls, you know, things like that. So I really wanted to add that level of immersion into this drawing. But as for the composition, I definitely wanted Beerus to be looking down at Goku just to show as like a representation, like, oh, you know, I am God, I am above you. And I think it really works because, you know, we have the light shining down on Beerus also. We also have the confident pose that he's in. He's basically just mogging the fuck out of Goku. While Goku, on the other hand, isn't backing down. He's still in his fighting stance, charging towards Beerus, regardless of how large the threat is. And I think, you know, the drawing we have, it tells a good story. And it's a good representation of how I would want things to look and how I'd want things to go if Battle of Gods was remade in 2025. for the final scene of the video, we're doing the most hype scene in the movie. I remember watching this shit back in 2013 on my PS3 because, you know, that's how old I was. You know, motherfuckers still had PS3s. That was like right before the PS4 had dropped. And I remember I pirated, let me shut the fuck up, incriminating myself. Obviously, the person that animated this scene is probably my favorite animator ever. He's the guy that definitely influenced me to get into drawing Dragon Ball art as much as I do. So for this drawing, we are going to draw it like Shida was never corrected by Yamamuro, and all his drawings just kind of remained untouched, and they kept their stylistic approach, their flair, you know, their different shapes and things like that. And yeah, hopefully we can do it. And there you have it, the final drawing of the video. This was extremely hard to pull off, especially anatomy wise, like trying to pull off this foreshortened scene, because foreshortening is definitely one of the staples in Shida's artwork and his art style in general. So I definitely knew I had to incorporate that in some way, shape, or form. And I also had to incorporate Shida's unique style of drawing auras and his unique shading shapes as well. A lot of people, you know, don't realize it, but like literally almost everything about his style is his own. So I definitely wanted to implement all of those things into this drawing. I think we succeeded. I think we did pretty good. And I also, of course, added a few things from Dragon Ball Daima in there, a few stylistic touches of my own in there. But overall, I think this drawing came out really well. I think it came out great. And all right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends all over social media. Also, if you guys would like to donate for more content like this, because obviously, you know, I got bills and shit to pay. So it's harder for me to put out content and stuff consistently if I'm, you know, not making a lot of money from it. So if you guys wanted to donate, the links will be on screen right now. Obviously, if you cannot donate, please do not donate if you don't have the money to do. So want videos to come out more frequently, I would, you know, really appreciate a donation. It would mean a lot to me. And also, I have a separate YouTube channel called Pedro Ronell, that I discuss, you know, different topics on, real world topics, you know, things you guys may or may not be interested in. But if you are interested in them, you know, the link will be in the description below. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking with me throughout this entire video. Hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, and I'm out.